Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Atlanta Motorsports Park. Glad to have you here on this day as we get ready for kart racing. It's going to be an outstanding day. If you would, let's pause, please, for our invocation and our national anthem. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to be here at this great facility. We ask your blessings over our drivers today and their crews. Make sure you keep them safe and give us all a safe trip as we make our way homes this evening. Thank you for all you've done and all your great blessings, for it's in Christ's name we ask it. Amen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. As you can see from our flag furling in the air as it did, it is a windy day here at Atlanta Motorsports Park, nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Northeast Georgia. Glad to have you here this day and glad to have you on this telecast as we bring you the action from the greatest kart track in the world here at Atlanta Motorsports Park as we get set to go racing. I want to introduce you to some folks who are going to be along with us today. Will Rigdon is going to be here bringing you the action along with myself. And our starter is Eli Bearden. He's going to be getting everything underway, getting the green flag out for these drivers as they get ready to go racing. Our producer is Michaela Denny. Pit reporter today is Mikey Lane. You'll be hearing from him throughout the day as you overlook this beautiful course here in Dawsonville, Georgia. Our race director is Trent Ellis. Timing and scoring, it's Kelly Childs. Today, our on-track camera, Ethan Denny, will be bringing you those shots. Also, our drone camera, Jeff Farver. You see some drone action going on right there from our drone camera as it looks around this facility. Our pit cameraman today is Jack Corkery. He'll be following Mikey Lane around and getting shots and interviews throughout the day from drivers who are winners here at Atlanta Motorsports Park. There we are in the tower area, and we're overlooking this great course as well. And our tower camera today, our operator there, is Branton McMahon. So those are the folks that are going to be involved in our broadcast, just as it is with race teams. This is a team effort amongst all of our folks here that are bringing you the action today. So a great team that we have assembled here as we get set for today's action to unfold. Our first group coming out in just a few moments, we will be having our LO206 cadets, and cadets will be coming out. We want to make mention of this. We do have a number of different classes competing throughout this, so our focus today will not only be on the leader of the actual race on the racetrack, but we'll also be focusing on the leaders in each individual class as we go through today's program. There you see turns 3 and 4 coming around our main area. That's where the kid karts will be lining up. You see their grid stationed out there for you. And, of course, as we get their racing underway, we'll have a shortened version of the racetrack. Their karts are just not strong enough to pull up some of the big hills. There you see the signature turn down into turn number 2 as they drop that full 2 stories. There's the main building of our sister track, the Atlanta Motorsports Park big track, as we call it, the one that we'll be calling action on a little later on. There you see some of the sports car activity that's going on over there today. We've seen a number of different cars and types of cars on that racetrack throughout the day. You'll get shots of them as we go along. Right now, we're just about ready to get LO206 and Cadet drivers going. We need all Tag Junior, Tag Senior, and Tag Master drivers to get those cars lined up. Karts, we need to be in the staging area for those coming up right after we get this finished up. So Tag Junior, Tag Senior, and Tag Master, let's work on getting those karts to the staging area. LO206 and Cadet will be up first. We look forward to that. Kai Mars will start out. He is in that Cadet division. You'll see him in the 23. Bowen Green, also a Cadet driver in the LO206. Luke Giglio in that Cadet division as well, another Cadet driver. Oliver Najbert. Lincoln Massey is a Cadet driver. Daniel Gilchowski, also one of those. Riley Platt's a Cadet. Ruben Greer, Cadet.
And these will all be cadets, Charles.
Cadet. Oh, these are all cadets. Okay,
yeah,
so
we actually split the grid up. So last season, you guys might remember, this first race was always the most exciting one. We had the LO Juniors and the LO Cadets together. But since both classes have been growing, we decided to split them out. We put the LO Juniors further back in the program, and we've got the entire first race just to LO206 Cadets.
All right.
So this one, we can call it like we see it, Charles. This one is not going to be a multi-class event. So what you see on the scoring screen will be your top 10 in the same class. We won't hit a multi-class race, I don't think, until our next one, which will be Tag Junior, Tag Senior, and Tag Master. And that'll be the second race coming up.
Well, it's good to have Will Rigdon on with us right now. Will is, of course, an able broadcaster. He's done many of these division races here and elsewhere. And, Will, you not only are a broadcaster and announcer, but you're also here on a regular basis. So you can tell us a lot about this race course as we get ready to come to green.
And it looks like they are going to restart that one. They were a little bit quick coming around the start-finish.
We'll see if we can get them all in line, ready to go. We got some folks that didn't make the turn.
And folks, keep in mind, this is one of our younger divisions. This is the youngest division of drivers that get access to the full course. So this is very much a learning experience for them as it is a competition. And so they're going to wave off this start as one of the karters missed the cut through, and he's going to have to take the long way around, Charles.
It's going to be a moment before we get this field tightened back up and ready to go. A couple of those drivers doing that same thing. But
it looks like the black flag is out, so they're going to bring the whole pack back in real quick, get this gridded back up. So they are going to pull this one back around to pit road.
It's always interesting to see the first start of a first day. It's rather a chilly day here. We've had days here when it was very hot. Of course, that was last summer. And then last winter, as we ended up, it was another chilly day. But these drivers are having to deal with cooler tires, and they're having to deal with the first race of the year. A little bit rusty, possibly, as they get set to go off racing down into the corners right now, and especially when they get over to turn 2.
Yes, and the last time we saw these guys was way back in November, Charles, so it has definitely been about 4 months of an off season for these guys, and so they got to shake out the cobwebs, remember how to do things, and get back out here. And on top of this, this is our intro class, so we have a lot of new drivers too, so this is going to be their first time ever out here. But as you see at the top of the board right now, Joseph Saddington, Kai Mars, and Bowen Green, and Luke Giglio, those are all familiar names from last season, so expect to see some action out of them. But as you see here, they're getting them all back up in the pit so we can get it regridded and get this line back up. As you remember last year, sometimes we'd have to bear through about 4 or 5 of these starts to get the race going. But as the season went on, they definitely got more practice and they definitely got better at it. But these guys are out here learning everything. They're learning the flags, they're learning the starts, learning how to start it, how to stop it.
And, you know, you got to wonder about it when you're out there by yourself and you missed the start or missed where you were supposed to turn through the cutoff. You got to wonder, is anybody else around me? And am I the only one out here that missed that? So you may have that situation going on right now as we see a lone kart coming back up to try to see if they can tighten up with the field.
And that is a great shot there from our on-track cameraman, Ethan Denny, the cowboy all the way out there at the cut-through. We stick him out there at the start of the race day, and then we don't check on him till the end, which is kind of a lie. We actually go out there and check on him during the kid kart race, but he is a trooper. He bears the elements, rain, shine, snow, whatever it is. Also, we can get the shots back there on the far side of the track.
And today, of course, you've got the wind, so that's another factor going into today.
So we'll be keeping an eye on drone operator Jeff Farver today because he's going to have to sling that drone to keep it from blowing out of the skies. But we're going to do the best we can to give you guys all the shots here today.
How will the drone, how does it get affected by wind? How much is too windy to try to put it up in the air?
So our drone, the AMP Skycam, it is a DJI Mavic Air 2 Zoom. And for all of
Listen to you with all the technical information here.
For all of you non-drone operators out there,
it's a good one.
It is a good one. It is tiny. It has a built-in camera with a built-in zoom on it, which is how we get those cool zoom in, zoom out effects. But the main thing is this camera can fly at almost 40 miles an hour, Charles.
Wow.
So that we can keep up with most of the action. Now, when the faster guys get out there, the 80-plus mile-an-hour karts, it can struggle a little bit. But with these four-stroke engines, they're doing about 55, 60 miles an hour. So, you know, with us having the benefit of being up in the sky, we can get some pretty good shots with that drone.
And even with the wind blowing very hard, that thing is just solid as a rock sitting there giving us great pictures. You would expect it to be jiggling a little bit on screen, and there it's just a solid shot.
The only thing that really gets affected for us by the wind, Charles, is where we're able to land this thing, because anybody walking around property will see that big white table up on the corner of the building, and that is our LZ for the drone. But when we have high wind like this, we got to park it off to the side of the track where it's a little bit safer to land it. And, you know, Jeff's going to be getting his steps in today as he's climbing up and down the stairs to swap out batteries.
I was going to ask you about that. We noticed that last year. Battery life with a great drone like that is somewhat limited. So how often will we have to change batteries?
So typically we try and do it every single race. Now, for these opening pre-final races, they're only 10 laps, and the drone will make at least about 50% battery to cover that first race. So it's not as hectic during the start, but once we go to those 12-lap pre-finals, and especially as the day goes on, battery management becomes a big deal for us. We've got multiple chargers, multiple batteries. It is quite an orchestrated dance to keep this thing up and flying continuously. But we're willing to do it here to give you guys all the shots, to give you the best angles, and to cover all the racing action here at Atlanta Motorsports Park.
You mentioned 12-lap races starting the pre-finals coming up at some point. So at what point do we start having 12 laps rather than these opening divisions?
Right now we've got 7 classes that are going to be running today, and some of them will be, or 7 divisions I should say. Some of them will be multi-class races, some of them will be single-class races like what we're seeing right now. The once we get down to the final race, so that's around 2:40 today. So these pre-finals will be 10 laps. The finals will be 12 laps.
Okay, so the finals will all be 12. Right now we're working on 10-lap races. I'm showing 8 divisions. We start out with LO206 Cadet, then Tag Junior, Tag Senior, and Tag Master. We ask those drivers to go ahead and get those cars to the staging area.
Yes, and I was actually mistaken because I forgot we split out the LO206 Cadet and Senior, or Cadet and Junior. So it used to be 7, and when we split it out, we made that extra run group. And that's also why we got on air a little bit earlier today, because we had to push the start of race day up to accommodate that extra group.
Well, here we come. Let's see if we get a green flag this time. LO206 Cadets are on the track. Last time we did not get a good start. Let's check out and see if that green flag waves this time by. The one-to-go signal is what's been given this time. Drivers having to know we do go green.
And they are underway. Green flag is out.
And they head down that big turn 2, that 2-story drop as they go to the bottom of the U and then back up the hill. They'll be slowing as they get to the top of the hill. It's all these karts can do to be able to pull that hill, but we got a 2-kart breakaway up front.
And that looks like Bowen Green and Kai Mars getting off to an early lead, trying to separate themselves from the pack.
They head down through the kink. Kai Mars is certainly a name that we have heard at this racetrack many times over. They head down into turn 9 right now. Those drivers making that big, long, sweeping signature turn as they head back up toward the area through the S's.
And there come your race leaders, Bowen Green and Kai Mars, as they make their way through turns 10 up to that big sweeper here, coming back into view of the crowd. That is a long turn 14 right there. Oh, on the inside, can't see who that is. That looks like either Lincoln Massey or Giselski.
That's a great race going on there for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Those drivers are all battling it out very hard. Here come your leaders by. It's going to be Bowen Green who leads lap number 1 with Kai Mars right in his tracks. They go down through turn 2, work their way up the hill. They'll be coming to our vantage point here at the tower in just a minute as they head into turns 3 and 4. There's the tail end of the field coming out through turn 14 right now. Here come their leaders are just going through the kink. We've got some others at the rear of the field. They'll be catching those karts fairly quickly. There are your leaders coming off turn 9, heading through the S's as they get ready to work their way up the hill. Bowen Green still out front in the 444, but Kai Mars right on his heels as they head down to turn 17. Right now you see the action coming through 14, right past the area where the cutoff is there for the kids' karts.
And that looks like Giglio trying to make the pass on the outside there for position number 3. Little crossover action. They're going to be side by side at the line. Let's see how this plays out. And it looks like Giglio did make the pass over Nadbert.
Giglio is another familiar name that we've heard here often. They work their way up turn 2. They're your leaders. They come off turn 3 right now, and they come by our vantage point, and they head down toward the kink as those two leaders have really broken away from the rest of the pack. We've got one lone driver, that's Giglio, who's in third spot. Then a good battle going on for 4th, 5th, and 6th, especially for 4th and 5th. Those cars very close together as they head down through that little kink at turn 8 and into the signature turn 9. That big 180-degree turn as they get ready to start up the S's. There's a good tight battle going on. Once again, that's your leader, Bowen Green in the 444, and Kai Mars right on his bumper in the 23.
And you can see that drone fighting the wind right now. It is gusting up there. And here come your leaders. Round 17, passing the start-finish.
Lap number 3 is now in the books for these drivers, and the rest of our field will be working their way by. Remember, this is a 10-lap pre-final race. We'll get into those finals a little later this afternoon. Working their way up the high banks of turn number 2, that high 2-story lift that they get, and around that little tight turn 3 and 4. Will, tell us a little bit about the makeup of this racetrack. It is everywhere you look is sort of, we call it signature turns. There's signature turns everywhere. You've got obviously turn 2 and the big deal there, of course, the 180-degree turn, but you've also got the drop of 2 stories, that 20-foot drop. Then you come around turns 3 and 4, and that's awfully tight when you come off 4, and you see that the tower is right there, and you've got to avoid that tight turn off there. Then you get down to the nice little kink, which the drivers have. And then, of course, the other signature turn is turn number 9. Tell us about the layout of this course and why it was developed in the way that it was to take advantage of the topography.
So not a lot of people know this about our course, but it was also designed, the karting circuit here at Atlanta Motorsports Park was designed by Herman Tilke. And if you're an F1 fan or follow a lot of European racing, you'd be very familiar with Tilke circuits. And so when he was out here designing our main track, we said, hey, have a field day with it, go to town, and he built one of the most extreme go-kart tracks in the world. We've got almost every turn is unique. We've got the big turn number 2 that's got the 3-story drop into the U-turn. You've got the back hill there after you come through 3 and 4, and that's got 43 feet of elevation change from top to bottom in that hill. And to make it even crazier, at the bottom of that hill, we put a massive kink in there to force everybody to go single wide. So if they're fighting for position and they don't have it, they're going to have to file up real quickly or it's not going to end well. And it looks like we have a Carter. Unless that was the camera. So forgive us if we have a little technical difficulties here.
Well, now you talk about this great track and the designer of the track. Of course, on the main track, we've got one of the turns there that is a very signature classic turn that has been duplicated many times at tracks around the world. Are there any of the turns here that were duplicated from any major racetracks in the world at the karting facility?
For the karting facility, not really. We are fairly unique because most karting tracks are flat. They just built them into a parking lot or a big empty space. Whereas here we built it into the topography, so it's got a lot of elevation change and a lot of elements you are not going to find anywhere else in the world.
Bowen Green has led this from the outset. He and Kai Mars started up front. Mars is still behind him right now as Giglio is running along in third spot. And our leaders have now completed 5 laps, so we're just at the halfway point as we get ready for number 6 lap to get underway right now. We got those drivers working lap number 6 as they bring it down. The leaders are heading down off of turn number 14 now. They'll be coming through. Actually, they have completed their 6th lap. They've just come past the start-finish area.
And for those of you watching at home, if you want to get a better readout of the score, you can always go to racemonitor.com and view the same data feed that we have in here on the stream right now. We were working on some nicer graphics, but could not get them working for this race. But hopefully coming in next month, we'll have a little bit cleaner display for everybody to see that timing data. But you can go to www.racemonitor.com to pull up the scoring feed if you want to see more data on these racers as it's happening live.
Will, you talk about racing coming up here at Atlanta Motorsports Park at the Kart track. When's the next race going to be?
So the next race is going to be the day before Easter, Charles, April 16th.
April 16th. And, of course, fans can come by and they can kart just about every day of the week here. Tell them about the possibilities that fans have to actually get in these karts themselves.
So if you like seeing the racing action, you want to come try out this track, we have public karting open Tuesday through Sunday, 1 p.m. until dark. We've got our 55-mile-an-hour rental karts, which are about the same speed as these karts you're seeing out on track right now. The only difference is these race karts weigh about half as much. So the cornering forces, the G-forces, everything these drivers are experiencing right now are going to be a little bit greater than what you're going to get in a rental kart, but you will get the same sense of speed, and you'll get to feel every last bit of elevation change here out at Atlanta Motorsports Park.
Well, our leader right now is Bowen Green in the 444. Kai Mars has fallen to about a second behind, and so that is going to be something that he's going to have to deal with to try to make up some of that time that he's got behind Bowen Green at the moment.
And Bowen Green is no stranger to victory lane as the white flag. Is that white flag or is that 2 to go?
We've got 2 to go. 8 laps complete, 2 to go.
So I saw him holding the flag in his hand. But we are 2 to go right now, and it looks like he is pulling away coming up that hill.
And we've got a differential now of 3 seconds behind is Kai Mars from Bowen Green. So Bowen Green has got this firmly in his hand right now if he's able to continue on that. It's another 3 seconds back to Giglio in the 68 car, and then another 6 seconds behind that to Joseph Saddington. So those top 4 drivers separated by quite a distance here as our final lap gets ready to get underway.
Yes, sir, Charles. They started close, but as this race has been going on, those front 4 have been slowly spreading out, as has the rest of the pack. And, looks like some passing action there coming into turn 1, unless that's lap traffic.
I believe that's lap traffic as we come by to the white flag for the rest of these drivers. In just a moment, you'll see Bowen Green come by. 9 laps now complete, so we're working the final lap of this one as Bowen Green continues to lead. Going to be a second or 2 more before we start seeing Giglio come by to get that 9th lap in. He does now. There's Saddington coming underneath the white flag. Lincoln Massey is your 5th place kart, and he has just now come underneath that, while our leader is already in the kink. There's the leader, the 444 of Bowen Green. He's down in turn 9, working this final lap, barring some kind of technical difficulty or him going off course. I think he's pretty much got this one in hand. He brings it up the hill. That is a taller hill, as you explained earlier, a much taller hill than it looks like on screen. And Bowen Green makes his way down into turn 16. He'll make the final turn into 17, and we'll bring him on home.
And here comes Bowen Green across the start-finish line to take the checkered flag. Kai Mars just behind him in 2nd place. And Luke Giglio will round out your podium here in the LO206 Cadet pre-final race. This is the first race in the 2022 season. Joseph Saddington pumping his arms as he comes across to nab 4th place. And a little bit of crossover action there at the end. Looks like Lincoln Massey is going to secure the 5th spot. Oliver Najbert is going to get the 6th. And David Jozowski will finish in 7th. Ryan Platts in 8th. Ruben Greer in 9th. Arthur Notapin in 10th. Matthew Barbosa is in 11th place. And to round out your field, the number 115 kart of Ryan Dahoney is your 12th place finisher. And well, Charles, for the first race of 2022, that did not disappoint. And we've got an exciting one coming up after this one. Up next is the Tag Junior, Tag Senior, Tag Master. And we've had a lot of action, a lot of development in this class over the offseason. We have moved this one up from further back in the field. This used to be second to last before the shifters. So we kind of swapped places with them, put them second. And these guys actually have an interesting set of prizes this year for the series victory. So we just recently announced last week that the winner of the X30 tag class, now this can be between master and senior. The cadets are not quite old enough to take advantage of the prize, but the best performing driver at the end of this season, and we're going to do this based off of 5 races. So we have an 8-race season, and they can have 3 drop races.
So they can drop 3, okay.
So and we're doing this intentionally so that if anybody wants to travel to come down and try and compete for this, because like I said, we just announced it last week, so as word's getting out, more drivers will probably get interested in this, but we've got VRD, which is Velocity Racing Development. That is our F4, F3 development team that is up here on site at Atlanta Motorsports Park. They are putting up a 1-day test and tune prize for the winner of the X30 Senior Master Division. And what that'll include is they'll get a day to come in, get fitted. They're going to put them into an F4 car, which if any of y'all have seen the cars that look like formula cars racing around up at the main track, that's one of them.
Wow.
They'll get fitted into the car, and then on the second day, it'll be a full test and tune day with VRD, and Dan Mitchell, as the president of VRD, will be out there scouting, and essentially they're going to have their shot at getting a seat in the big leagues.
Now, this is going to be, of course, after the season is ended, because we've got to get through all of those 8 races that are scheduled, and the drivers have to compete and take their top 5 finishes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So this will be awarded at the end of the season. I'm not sure when the test date will be, whether it's going to be this fall or the start of next spring. But VRD is constantly traveling around the world. They got drivers competing in every stage of racing, and their goal is to get drivers up to the highest levels. I mean, we want to see American drivers in F1, and that is their goal, is to create a funnel, create a system that drivers trained in America can make it up to the top levels of international racing.
You know, it's a very difficult thing to begin a whole new racing culture, and I think with trying to get more American drivers in F1, that is something that comes about. I was part of the team that worked on carrying NASCAR to China back a number of years ago, and we had to go into China. They have no racing of any kind, so we had to go into China and start go-kart racing. We had to start drivers from the very beginning and try to build professional drivers in a country that had never been used to driving, never been used to racing, and that is a difficult thing to do. At least here we've got racers, and we're just trying to transform them into F1 type racers.
Well, that is something we kind of started from scratch here, because in Northeast Georgia there is not a lot of go-kart tracks. There's some racing divisions for people that want to do oval racing for young drivers, but in terms of karting, when they built Atlanta Motorsports Park 10 years ago, we had to start from scratch to build this feeder system.
Well, there's plenty of dirt go-kart racing,
yes,
but not asphalt, certainly not road courses.
No, and we had to build this from scratch, and what you guys are seeing here today is the culmination of over 10 years of hard work by the staff here to try and build a program, to try and build a race day that people want to travel from all around to come compete in.
You know, we talk about, and Atlanta Motor Speedway is a good example of this, track that resurfaces when the asphalt gets worn out. Any chance that the asphalt ever gets worn out on a kart track, or is that something that there's not that much damage done by the karts?
So the kart track will last a little bit longer than the main track, but pretty much the elements are gonna beat it up about the same.
Probably the sunshine more so than the rain or snow. What little you get up here is probably sunshine more than anything else.
And I mean, these little karts will stick and they will pull some asphalt up, especially when you get to the shifters, but it's not quite like having a big V8 class.
Yeah. Well, we got our next group on the track right now.
And
these are the Tag Junior, Tag Senior, and Tag Master.
And it looks like they're going to wave them around.
So we'll get them going in a minute. Let's check them out right now. The Tag Senior, we've got Danny Perez, Raiden Nickel, also Erica, and we've changed that just a moment. Okay, catching up now. Erickson Evans. In the senior group, we've got Leonardo Oliveira, John Austin Davis, Jake Fetter, Leonardo Protz, Milko Simonov, that's a master. We've got our masters there. James Long is a tag senior. Jose Garcia is a tag master. Bobby Key is also one of the master division drivers. Bill Strempel, a master division driver. Mike Bruce, one of the master drivers. Justin Garrison, a master driver. Donald Davis, also a master. Doug Wilson is a master driver. Gabe Spencer is stuck back there in 21st as a senior driver. Earl Daltright is also a senior driver, and Lon Washburn is a master driver. So as you see, we've got 3 different divisions competing here. We've got tag junior, tag senior, and tag master. So we'll try to keep you updated with all those drivers and who's leading each of those divisions as we go along. The overall race, we'll keep you abreast of that. Alejandro Nito is in the, he's a senior driver, and he is up first. And we have one driver that we do not have a number for, nor a name. All we have is his transponder is showing up, so not sure exactly who that is. That's the driver that's shown on your screen there in second position. Jason Eberhardt in the number 6 is a master driver. He's one of the top masters starting this race. All right, let's check them out, see what we do right now. We're still trying to get everybody lined up and get them corrected. Everybody's stopping, and you can see all the hands going up to signify to the drivers behind them that we're actually coming to a stop. So we'll see in just a moment. These carts, Will, you see a lot of smoke coming up from these carts. The engines in these are not like the engines in shifter carts or some of those others. These are somewhat muted engines, I guess you'd say.
So this is the Tag X30 class. So this is actually as close to the shifters as we can get. So the difference between this and a shifter is the shifter has the gearbox in it. So that way the engines can take full advantage of being in power at all times. With these X30s, they're liquid cooled like the shifters, but there's no gearbox. It's just you put the pedal down and it goes. So once you're in the power range, the carts really take off. But at those low speeds, these engines really they got no bite to them. And that's why it's real important to make sure you manage your RPMs, where you're at on track, and making sure you run the line, because if you spin out, if you do any kind of thing where you have to stop on the brakes and you lose those RPMs, there goes your power. You're not able to just get back on it and climb up through the revs. You got to wait for it just as it goes back up. And so that's the big thing with the KA100s and these tag engines. So coming up after this, the kid carts, after them will be the KA100s, which is the next level down from here, what we're looking at right now. So the KA100s are the same thing as the tags, except there's no liquid cooling.
Now all of these are 2-cycle engines, correct?
Yes, these are all part of our 2-cycle engines. So KA100 is the air-cooled, and that is a 100cc air-cooled engine. When they go to the tag, it's bumped up to 125cc, and they put a liquid cooling block on it, and that's where it gets the radiator and the liquid cooling, and they're able to go from about 22 horsepower up to about 30.
Ah, okay. And I noticed during practice today, walking around through the pit area and the garage area, and that's that unique smell that you get. It's not like any other racing fuel because it's mixed with the oil, and you smell that out of these 2-cycle engines, and it's a unique smell that's only there for kart racing, unless you're running your chainsaw out in the woods or something.
Yes, sir.
But this has the differential of also having the smell of the rubber tires in it. So it's a unique smell, and it's one of those that you enjoy. You know you're at race day when you smell that particular.
Some of these carts, especially the 2-strokes, they can run that 110 leaded race fuel, and that is definitely something you don't smell on a normal basis unless you're at a racetrack.
That's right, and I've always said if you're going to be commenting on racing, you don't do it from your home living room. You better be out there smelling those race fumes on race day to be able to say that you're a race broadcaster or a race announcer.
You got to let it tinge the nostrils a little bit.
That's right. You know, smell is of all of our senses, smell is the one that invokes the most memories. So I think when you go to the racetrack for the first time every season in the spring, it's like, oh, man, there's that smell I've been missing for the last 4 months.
And we are still under pause right now, trying to see what is going on.
Yeah, we got issues on the racetrack, or issues with the carts. I know they're looking at one of those carts very diligently right now. There must be some issue with that. That's possibly the cart that may be Alejandro Nito. I'm not sure. That's the one that's on the inside there they're looking at.
Well, let's see. Looks like they got them all fired back up.
Fired up they are.
Of smoke, and they will do one shortened lap here. They're going to go through the cut through and hopefully be under green next time by.
I got a bit of new technology around this racetrack. One of those is the scoring lights and the start lights and so forth. You want to explain that just for a moment?
So during the offseason, one of the troubles we were having last year is keeping everybody under speed and getting nice, clean starts. You know, people jumping the tram lines. There's a lot of issues here with the starts. And so over the offseason, we put in an electronic scoring light up there. So you can see the guy with the flag waving him off, but there's actually a big green light flashing just over top, and you can see it there in the screen, the lower right-hand side. And there's also a speed limit sign on there, too, so they can see what their speed is. And as you can see the drivers waving off, that is a false start.
You mentioned something I'm not familiar with, a term that's new to me, the tram line. Explain that.
So the tram line, as you'll see, there's those two lines that the drivers, when they go 2 by 2 down the grid there right before the start-finish line, they are not allowed to cross that line before they get across the start-finish line. So when you see people jumping out of position to try and jockey for position, they all have to cross that line 2 by 2 before they can make a move.
I got you. Okay, so that's the tram line, and we'll be seeing it come into view here in just a moment.
And you can see it right there. Those two sets of lanes. You'll see each side will go right down the middle of them.
So they have to stay in line in those areas, and then when the green flag comes out, they can start doing that.
Yep.
Or maybe not. They can maybe not be able to do that.
And that might be a penalty. I don't know. We'll have to talk to race control because he definitely shot out there before the green was thrown. Oh, we got trouble right there at bottom of 2. And that looks like the 88 of Bill Strimple and the 81. It's hard to see that number, Charles. Yeah, 81 of Bobby Keys.
Those two drivers getting together and having some difficulty as they went down into 2. There you see our leaders going into the kink. I believe that
No, they're going through turn 9.
Oh, they're already at turn 9. Okay. I see them now coming up that hill heading toward turn 14. So they're working their way up the top of the hill right now, and they'll be heading to 14. Meanwhile, there they go, getting ready to complete lap number 1. They come through turn 17. We'll find out who our leader is when we get back to the stripe, and I got a feeling it's none other than Raiden Nickel. We have seen him so often in this division working his way to the front. A lot of talent from Raiden Nickel.
And this is one of the fastest classes we will see out here today, Charles. They go back and forth with shifter class for lap times. Now, technically the shifters are faster karts, but they are harder to control. And so these X30 tags, you'll oftentimes see lap times competing with the shifter class.
And the shifter class is a little heavier class as well. These guys come up that hill off turn 2 very quickly. You'll watch them as they come through the S's right now. That's a pretty high elevation that they've got to go. And you see Raiden Nickel almost gathering some air there from his right side tires when he came off the kink. That kid really knows how to wheel a kart.
And these guys, when they're running full strength, they can get air coming over 2 and they can get air coming over turn 4, Charles.
We were here for a photo shoot you brought us out to one day, and they were actually doing some filming of the drivers getting air coming off turn number 2. Quite impressive shots that they got that day.
Yeah, that was Oliver Piatek actually got a new kart that day, and he was wanting to shake it out. And, you know, nothing runs as fast as a brand new kart, and he was sending it over that hill.
Yeah, there you see your leader, Raiden Nickel. He starts to separate himself from the rest of the field, and we've got 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They're in a straight line right now, but don't expect that to last. Somebody's going to look down to the inside, and there we are.
And that looks like Leonardo Oliveira trying to make the pass on Danny Perez, and it looks like he did it.
Man, what a smooth transition that was for Oliveira as he cut that corner thin over in turn 2, looked to the inside, and was able to make the pass. So Oliveira will go to 2nd position. We'll check them out as they come down to start-finish.
And as they make their way by, we will get updated scoring data and see how the field is. Oh, that was Evans that made the pass. That was one of VRD's drivers.
And how about that? Danny Perez has gone to the top of the leaderboard right now, and he is a senior driver. Let's check out some of our other drivers.
I wonder if that was a transponder issue?
I believe it was. I think we might have a transponder problem on that. Tag senior, it's showing that Raiden Nickel is now down in 5th spot. Jake Fetter is in the senior class as well. Our first master driver is, I believe that's Mike Bruce. It's our first master.
Definitely Raiden back there in 5th. I'm pretty sure something must have happened. Hard to see from here. I need to go to the window so we can look out.
Well, Danny Perez is listed as the leader in the 282. Let's check that number on that card as they make their way by.
Definitely Danny Perez coming across the line.
We've got Erickson Evans shown in second position in the 29, Jake Fetter in the 970 in third. Those are all senior drivers. Again, taking a look at our scoring monitors, we find that the first master is Mike Bruce. Our second master driver, that's best of class, is Donald Davis in the 02. And our number one senior driver, let's see, let me check out the senior driver. Number one senior is Danny Perez. So seniors and masters involved in this race. Will, correct me if I'm wrong. I see seniors and masters. I see no juniors in this race at all. Are we just seniors and masters?
I don't think anyone registered for the juniors. Most of the juniors, this is a pretty big cart for juniors to handle. So some of them will do it, but I don't think we've got any of them signed up for today.
So Danny Perez is a senior driver, then a master's driver. The first one up still Mike Bruce. What's the difference in senior and master? Seniors are youngsters, like senior in high school kind of thing.
Yeah, seniors
whereas
more
masters are older.
Yeah, seniors are pretty much your teenagers, and masters is anybody out of school.
So we're not talking senior citizens here.
No.
Young senior drivers as they make their way. Once again, there's Danny Perez in the 282 heading down. We have completed 5 laps so far, looking lap number 6 this time by for these drivers. Good battle going on there for second and third. Wow. Raiden Nickel trying to work his way back up. Nickel had a problem. He was your leader, wound up back in 5th position, and now Raiden Nickel has worked his way up to 3rd spot once again.
And he is no stranger to working his way through the field. As we watched all last season, he would either lead the race or start in the back and just destroy the field. And so I would look to him to try and make his way back up to the start, to the head of the field. And there is not a huge gap separating your leaders right now, Charles.
And Raiden Nickel, driver out of Houston, Georgia. Look at them. Man, they are really fighting those carts hard and fighting those corners hard as they work their way up the hill to turn 14. We've got leaders working their way off of turn 17 right now. There's your leader. He separated himself from the field. Danny Perez will come by, 7 laps complete. Now let's check out that quad group of 4. Raiden Nickel is now up to 2nd.
And Danny Perez will definitely take advantage of that mid-pack fighting for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now. Because with Raiden finally getting around the crowd, will he have enough time? We've got 3 laps to see if he can do it.
We look back at our first master driver, and that's Mike Bruce. And Mike Bruce is a driver who we watched probably 20 years ago on the oval asphalt tracks. Bruce in the 47, he still continues to carry that lucky number 47 number, and Bruce is the top of the Masters division right now.
And here goes your pack through that big sweeper, turn 14. That is such a wild turn, Charles, because as you're going through there, the whole weight of the cart shifts to the outside as the hill crests and goes around. It is a huge momentum shift in those carts, and if you don't hit it just right, you can wipe out real easy on that tire wall.
And they come down into turn 2, and that's another one right there where you've got to really control that cart, and you've got to be able to keep the momentum up as much as possible to work your way up the hill. Danny Perez continues to stay on the gas. The distance between his cart and Raiden Nickel's cart is still quite a bit. The difference, Nickel is back 2 seconds, 2 full seconds behind Danny Perez. As our laps start to wind down, the 2 to go has already been shown to them. They'll be coming by to the white flag this time. Perez brings it by. We'll get the white flag in the air right now as Perez works his way under the flag stand. Now, Raiden Nickel has cut that time to 1.8 seconds, but I'm not sure that 0.2 of a second is going to help him per lap to try to see if he can get up there and fight with Perez. Unless Danny makes some kind of an error, I don't believe Raiden's going to be able to overtake him.
Well, he was almost half a second faster that last lap than Danny Perez, but with 1 lap to go, that is not going to cover a almost 2-second gap. So barring a mechanical failure or some misfortune, it is looking like Danny Perez will ride this one out.
There you saw Nickel leading that second group by, and Perez is already working his way off of 17 while the rest of these drivers bring the big action right behind them. Let's check them out as they come to start finish. Raiden Nickel winds up with the win. What happened to Danny Perez? He's back in third spot. Nickel overtook him, and so did Leonardo Oliveira. Wow.
I think that's the curse of the commentator, Charles. We say it, and the opposite happens. You're watching the same race I was up here, Charles. I did not see that.
I did not see that either. I saw them tighten up when they came off 9. I saw that gaggle of carts get together coming off turn 9. I did not see the pass where Nickel got by Perez, but apparently it happened right there in turn number 9, and it just escaped us, Will. At some moment we didn't see it, and congratulations to Raiden Nickel. He lost the lead. He started out on the front, lost the lead, went back to 5th place, systematically worked himself up, and as we said, there's absolutely no way he could do it, and he did it anyway.
And like we've seen time and time before, Raiden Nickel making his way up to the number 1 position. Leonardo Oliveira is your second place driver. Danny Perez is third place for Tag Senior. In the podium for Tag Master, looks like Mike Bruce will take home the number 1 spot, with Donald Davis in second and Bill Strimple in third.
We got a couple of drivers. We're not sure exactly how they finished because the transponders does not have a name on it nor a division. So possibly one of those could be a master. So we don't know for sure on that. So those are unofficial, as always, they're unofficial results, and we'll try to get you more official notice of that as we go on. Next group out, it's Kid Karts. They line up at a different position than our drivers do. All of our other drivers stage in the building that we're in, down in the lower level, and so they try to stage there. However, Kid Kart stage over in front of one of the garage buildings, and so they'll be starting from that position and bring them out onto the racetrack. Now, the track and the course is shortened for the Kid Kart, so they call this the Jelly Bean, and we'll explain a little bit about that.
So the Jelly Bean Loop, when we originally opened, that was actually the first circuit we opened here as they were finishing out the rest of the track so we could just get karts on track, and it's a great junior loop. It's got 5 turns technically. It's about a 4-turn actual circuit. It's great for the kids to get to learn how to drive without being the full-blown track. I did recently get some information, Charles. Sorry, they were just tapping me on the shoulder here. I need to make an announcement to all the drivers out here. We are going to be going away from the starting lights. They are having some technical issues. That was what the holdup was that last race. We couldn't get the lights working properly. So that is not going to be in use. We're going to go back to manually flagging it, the green flag. So all drivers, if you can hear me, we're going to be using a green flag instead of the lights today. So keep an eye out for that. And that would explain why we had a hard time getting the X30 off and running. And so as they get these Kid Karts gridded up, you can see the last of the X30s getting off track. Once they are off, they will get these Kid Karts on track, and I will let you take this one away, Charles.
All righty, KA100s, you'll be coming up next. Let's get those karts to the staging area. KA100, sometimes old school is the way you have to go. Let's hope we don't have to drag out the stopwatches. At least we've got digital timing and scoring working for us this afternoon. Let's tell you who all is involved with our broadcast today. Our starter is Eli Bearden. Our producer, Michaela Denny. Pit reporter is Mikey Lane. You'll be hearing from Mikey a little later on. Race director is Trent Ellis. Timing and scoring, it's Kelly Childs. Our on-track camera being operated by Ethan Denny. Jeff Farver is our drone camera operator. The pit camera, Jack Corkery. And our tower cam brought to you by Brenton McMahon.
And it looks like we have some issues out here on the back of the track, so we are going to be paused for a minute. It looks like some of the grass is actually caught on fire on the back side of the track, so crews are hastily putting that out right now.
Well, one good thing about it is this track is completely encapsulated, so there is a built-in fire break by getting to the asphalt somewhere. But having seen fires on racetracks before, I know that fire is not the friend of asphalt. It can get burned up in a hurry. When we used to have fires on the track, we would always try to get those cars taken off the tracks as soon as possible. I will relate this story to you. I was announcing a truck race once at Montgomery, Alabama, and we had a truck that caught on fire, a race truck that caught on fire on the racetrack, and we had no way of getting that truck off the track, and there was no fire equipment at the racetrack. They had to call a volunteer fire department. It took them 45 minutes to get there, and it was going to burn up the track. The driver got out safely without a problem, but the truck was sitting there and burning. They went out with a log chain and threw it and wrapped it around the roll cage of that track, and were able to pull it off the track so it wouldn't burn the asphalt. But asphalt is not a friend of fire whenever it comes to that. So anyway, the crews are working.
There.
They're working on that to get it put out. When the fire extinguisher is empty, you just take it and bang it on the grass in order to try to get the fire put out.
Just got to stomp it out. Well, that section will definitely grow back greener this year.
A little potash always helps things, and that's what's being created right now is a little bit of potash mineral, and that will help things to grow. Now they're heading over with more people and more feet to do some stomping, it looks like, to get that out. We're back in just a few moments. Just hang on. We'll be back with more action here at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Kid Karts are on the track right now. They're making their way up as we get ready to go, and we've got Bo Stowers completing lap number 1 in the 121, Ryan Dehoney in the 115, Camilla Kanash in the number 26. Those are our 3 kid karts out here today. A little slim on the kid kart side of things. We need all K100s lined up in the staging area, please. K100s. We need you in the staging area. 1 lap is complete so far as the drivers work their way around and trying to find. There they come. They're coming off turn number 17 as we see them off in the distance. So Bo Stowers continues to lead this with Ryan Dehoney in second spot. Make their way up through the little cut through, and they'll back down to turn 16 right now. They bring it through. We continue to call these the regular turns that we're used to on the big track, even though these drivers make maybe 4 or 5 turns at most. We still call those 16 and 17 and so forth as they work through just for simplicity. There we've got a pass going on for the lead. Ryan Dehoney right at the flags takes the lead. So Dehoney is your new race leader. Bo Stowers now back to second spot. Stowers starts to see Dehoney pulling away a little bit, even though Stowers is able to keep him in his sights. And back in the back, Camilla Kanash in the number 26, as those drivers now start to sort it out a little bit more. You see Stowers trying to take a little lower line there, but Dehoney still leads them as they come across the stripe and head up the hill. This is probably the hardest part of the course for them because they are working their way uphill before they get to that cut through, and now it's the downhill all the way through 17 and back just to the point right before they take the next flag, or right before the flag stand. Then they'll start to work their way back up the hill again. So continuing to go downhill. Now they get to the bottom of the hill, and at this point they start their ascent back up once again. Those karts really starting to lug a little bit as they get up to the top of the cutoff. So the drivers having to watch that as the power is just enough to get them up that hill and not very much more. Ryan Dehoney has led on the 5th lap. He is the leader coming by. We're working lap number 6 right now as Dehoney brings it off turn number 17. And down underneath you see number 6 lap going on the board. Bo Stowers is second. Camilla Kanash is third. All of these are kid kart competitors. K100s, we need you at the staging area. Let's line them up in the staging area, please. All KA100s. They're coming your way next. Dehoney now stretching the lead out just a bit. Dehoney has quite a distance over Bo Stowers, and Dehoney at the moment is a full 2.5 seconds, actually 2.7 seconds ahead of Bo Stowers. And Camilla Kanash is back there 3 seconds behind. So still our leader is Ryan Dehoney as we work our way into turn 17 once again. Laps winding down right now. They'll see 2 laps to go this time when they make their way by our official starter. 8 laps are in the board. Ryan Dehoney works his way up the hill to the cut through. In just a second, you'll see them coming. There he comes off of turn 16 or down through turn 16 and heading into 17. White flag will be out this time by for Ryan Dehoney. KA100s are up next. White flag is in the air. Dehoney is your first driver to make it underneath the white flag. Bo Stowers follows in second spot. Camilla Kanash. There's our leader, Dehoney, down into 17. Dehoney comes by to take the win. These are the pre-finals. The ends of these races are how we'll line up for the finals coming up a little later on. Here comes Dehoney by to capture the win. Second spot, Bo Stowers still hanging on to second, and Camilla Kanash taking third position. So those are the way that our 3 drivers in the kid karts end up, with Ryan Dehoney, Bo Stowers, and Camilla Kanash. The KA100s are up next. They'll be roaring out from underneath our tower here. At turns 3, 4, and 5. We sort of comprise that straightaway between 4 and 5. and they'll make their way out onto the track. They'll come out. They actually come out at about turn number 7 is where they enter the track, between 6 and 7. That is in what we call the kink portion of the racetrack here at Atlanta Motorsports Park, and they'll be making their way out onto the track there. We need to bring up the Tag Cadet and Tag Rookie. You'll be up next. Let's get those karts to staging. Tag Cadet and Tag Rookie. I'm Charles Head. I'm here along with Will Rigdon bringing you the action this afternoon. We'll be hearing from Mikey Lane a little later on, too. He's going to be down in the pit area and reporting there and talking to our winners as we get winners in the finals coming your way. He'll be along to bring you the broadcast a little later on this afternoon. I have to scoot out to another race that I'm doing tonight, so we'll be leaving you somewhere in the 2:30 to 3 o'clock range, and Mikey Lane will take over here in Broadcast Central to bring you the rest of the afternoon's festivities. He and Will Rigdon will join up together for that. We look forward to having you here, and of course we'll be back on Easter weekend on April 16th, whatever that date is. Anyway, it's the Easter weekend that we'll be here. I believe 17th is Easter Sunday, so we'll be here with you on that Saturday as we get ready for more action to unfold here at Atlanta Motorsports Sports Park on this great kart course. Remember, in the L206 Cadets, VRD is giving away that great option for the winner of that. It'll be a 5-race deal out of 8. There are going to be 8 races, and you can drop 3 of those. So your best 5 finishes is going to determine the winner, and that is a great promotion this year to get that full test and tune session in an F4 car on the main track here at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Now you see the wind picking up. We saw that little grass fire that occurred a few moments ago. Apparently one of the karts got off track, and the hot manifold and the hot muffler area just happened to hit something that was very dry. That dry acts like a tinderbox, the dry grass does, and that created the fire that was off track over there just for a few moments. And of course, track crews, we saw a multitude of people going over. They used fire extinguishers, and once they extinguished all the fire extinguishers, they had to wind up using them as battering rams to stop that out. And we saw more people going over to use their feet to get that fire stomped out over there. So Will Rigdon, who has been here for a long time, says first time he's ever seen a fire here at this racetrack. But thankfully, no one was involved. It was just a little grass fire, and it was extinguished very quickly, coming off turns number 9 and 10 over in that area where it was just over the hillside. So that's being taken care of. We'll get ready to bring out our KA100s here in just a moment. Let's check out your lineup for the KA100s here today in their 10-lap pre-final. Here's the way they'll line up for you. It'll be Gabe Spencer. He's a KA100 senior driver. I believe all of these drivers, we have a couple of juniors in the field. We'll get you those drivers' names in just a moment. Spencer Mast. Also here is Theodore Simonov, Jack Roster, Danny May, Cameron Estes, Jose Garcia, Carson Craig, Martin Simonoff, Caden Kessman is a junior. Sam Machado is a senior. We've got one driver that we don't have a number on their transponder, so not sure if that's a senior or junior. Christian Foster, also a junior. Luke Kondrowski is a senior. Jack Gambino is a senior. Vincent Capatillo is a junior. Capatillo, I believe he pronounced that. And Adam Wine is a junior, so that's the way they start out. Gabe Spencer, by the way, is the driver of the 240. You'll see him on track. He'll be sitting on pole position. Spencer Mast is in the 41. He is a senior. Theodore Simonov is in the 04. That is a senior driver. Jack Rostar is a senior in the 98. Danny May, a senior in the 09. Cameron Estes in the 28 is a senior. Jose Garcia, the 00 of Garcia. Now, he's a driver that you see not only on this track, but you see him on the big track as well in his Spec Miata. He is in the 00, and he is a senior. Carson Craig, the number 55, he is a multi-time winner in this division. He is a senior in that 55 kart. Also as a senior is Martin Simonoff in the 26. Hayden Castman is a junior. That's the 07 car. Sam Machado is a senior in the 06. Then we have that driver that we have no name listed for, and we don't know if that's a senior or junior. Christian Foster is a junior in the number 4 cart. Luke Kondrowski is a senior in the number 35. Jack Gambino is a senior in the 77. Another junior is Vincent Capetillo in the 14, and a junior, Adam Wine, in the number 23. You see them rolling out of the staging area and the start zone that's right underneath our building here at Atlanta Motorsports Park. They head down into the kink area. They'll be working their way slowly through turns 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and up the hill. There they come up the hill into 10 and 12 and 13, and they'll be coming to the green flag in just a moment. And for the first time today, we bring on Mikey Lane, who joins us here. Mikey, the KA100s is a great group, and we got a huge field starting this afternoon.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me up here. Pit lane wasn't working out. We had some network communication, so I'm filling in for Will as he's resolving some issues.
Well, issues are always one of the great things about a racetrack. There's issues all the time, and certainly you got to have somebody that takes care of those. They waved off the first start, so they're going through the shortcut. We'll be ready to go again. Mikey, we've got, man, I was trying to look at the number of carts, 15 or so carts here. Let me get my race monitor back up and see 18 carts. What a great field we've got. They come by this time. Let's see if we get a green flag. And they wave it off again, so it doesn't look like it's going to be happening this time either. So these drivers are all, as they say, champing at the bit to try to get things going, and they can't make it that time. So we'll see if they stay in line this time. Let's check them out. I learned a new phrase a while ago, the tram line. We'll see if anybody breaks out of that tram line and causes a false start this time. That is that grid area you see painted off there just before you get to where the flagman is. Let's check out, make sure everybody stays inside that line. And again, we had drivers that let those right side tires just creep over to the inside. They got to stay within those lanes. You're a man that should know about lanes, being that that's your name.
I am familiar.
All right, so let's find out if they stay. We'll rename that the Mikey Lane. How about that?
Yeah, before the week, me and Will were trying to come up with a good pun, but that's a good one.
All right, here they come. Let's see our top leaders come by. They got to get lined up a little better than that. Guys, you got to tighten it up. Let's see if we can do that this time by.
Well, that wasn't even close.
Nope, no, you're right. Not even close. We got a couple that got together back here in the back section of the track. If you get together and spin out after contact before you even get up to speed, that is not a good omen of how the race is going to go.
Yeah, generally you want to be facing forward when the race starts.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. When you say hammer down, you hope that you're hammering forward instead of going out toward the trees. We've already had a situation in the grass earlier. We don't need that. All right, guys, let's tighten it up. It's time to see if we can get a green flag. Boy, I tell you, we are not doing well. Mikey Lane has not been productive for us today. Don't you love to hear it said like that?
Yeah. It sounded like my parents.
Okay, one more time. Let's see if we do it. They work their way down the hill. Let's see if we can tighten up. At least we've gotten the pack together. Now, whether they can stay together through the tram lines or not, I'm not sure. Let's check it out this time.
I'm feeling good about this one. I think they look tighter.
Yeah, I think that we may have to go single file. If we can't get it done now, may have to go single file start. Let's try it out this time. Let's see how far it goes before they call it off. It's looking good. And we're green. That's a good sign. We hear them say green, green, green. So we are underway right now as the drivers work their way up. We've got a group of seniors and juniors in this race, so we'll try to make sure to keep you abreast of both those divisions. Oh, got a pass for the lead. Almost a pass for the lead. Looked like that was going to be, but it was not, as Gabe Spencer continues to have his lead on the thing. I believe Theodore Semenov has worked up to second spot. Let's check that out. We won't know until they get past scoring and timing. It's hard to tell these karts apart. Occasionally you can get a driver with a unique looking helmet or a unique looking kart and find out, but I believe we've still got Gabe Spencer up front right now. good field of karts. They worked their way through turn 10 up down into 14. Now we've got our leaders that are into 17 already. Here they come off 17. We'll give you a much better idea once they come across the scoring stripe right now. And Gabe Spencer is, yes, he is your race leader. Mikey, take us down those top 10.
So Gabe Spencer across the line in first place. In second place behind Gabe is Spencer Mast. Tidor Simonov, we thought had made the pass, but turns out he is still in third. Number 4, Danny May, and the number 9, Kart. And in fifth place, we have Martin Simonov, which I'm guessing is the brother of Tidor Simonov.
I would guess so.
In sixth, we have Jack Hrust.
I've been pronouncing that Harstar.
Harstar. All right, I'll go with that. And then behind Jack Harstar, Hayden Kasman.
Now, Hayden Kasman is our first junior, so he leads the junior class right now. So let's keep our eye on that. He is the leader of the junior division.
All right, and then the next junior after that is all the way in the 10th overall spot. So 2 spots separating the junior karts. Those 2 seniors are Carson Craig in 8th and then 9th, Luke Kondrowski.
Well, you know, we've seen Carson Craig in the past have some really good runs here, and we may see him moving up through this field. But right now, Carson Craig is back there in 8th spot, so he's not moving up as quickly as I had anticipated he would at the start of this one. Drivers working their way, the kind of a top 2 breakaway as they go into turn number 9 right now. Spencer Mast and Theodore Simonov are working their way into the S's as they make their way up the hill, and those drivers are staying pretty tight on each other.
Let's see.
At the moment, when they first came by, there was just a bit of difference in these drivers, just 0.18 seconds. Let's see if they've tightened that up this time when they make their way by. 0.12 seconds. So obviously, Mast is gaining just a little bit on Gabe Spencer. And there you see a tight battle between those two once again. And I think Mast has still got the advantage, but Spencer is right there in that multicolored kart.
Or I have Spencer at first.
Yeah, Spencer is your first. Okay. Exactly. Spencer is first, and Mast is in the multicolored kart back in second position. There you see the numerals on Gabe Spencer's number 240. Spencer Mast behind him in the 41. They head to turn 17. This will be 4 laps complete this time by as Spencer brings them underneath the green flag. Underneath the flag stand. A green flag is not out. We've already had a green flag, so I guess you would say we still stay green, but he comes underneath the flag stand anyway. Look at that tight battle. Boy, the 41 of Spencer still trying to work his way by, but it's going to be Spencer out front. Mast, we've got a different situation there. We've got Gabe Spencer, and we've got Spencer Mast. So when you say Spencer, that's rather... you don't really know who you're talking about, so we have to use both names there. Gabe Spencer is your leader, Spencer Mast in second spot.
I know Gabe Spencer's in first. Spencer Mast had run faster laps than Gabe Spencer.
Man, he's right on him. Look at that. Spencer Mast just cannot seem to get his way by. Gabe Spencer still holding on to the top lead as they come by. It's the cross flags out. We're halfway through, 5 complete and 5 to go. And that battle up front is the most exciting thing on the racetrack right now. Again, our top running junior is Hayden Kasman. I believe that's correct. Hayden Kasman, who runs in the 7th spot, is our top running junior. Second fastest junior is Christian Foster, still back in 10th position. And the third fastest junior is Vincent Capetillo. He is in the 14 kart, and he is in 12th spot. So the juniors, of course, not quite the experience that the seniors have. And the senior up front right now is Gabe Spencer, still in that 240 kart. We got one kart way off the track, makes a little hard hit out there and finds himself over near the hedges.
He kind of threw his hands up there, so I wonder if maybe he had a little help getting out there.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of frustration in that those hand signals that were being generated there from him. So I believe he feels like that he was wronged on the racetrack anyway, whether he actually was or not. I've had many times drivers say, man, he took me out. Then they watch the replay and say, he never really touched me. I thought he did.
Turns out I was by myself.
Yeah. There's a good battle going on. You see those drivers down into the bottom of that big hill in turn 2. They work their way up the hill right now, and that is a strong battle going on. Gabe Spencer is still our race leader in the 240 with Spencer Mast in the 41. You see those drivers way over in turn 9. This is the battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and it's beginning to tighten up.
And for the battle for the lead, Spencer Mast has cut down the lead to under half a second.
Now that's significant because he started further back in there, so let's see if he's going to have anything for Gabe Spencer as the laps wind on. Here come your leaders right now. Let's check out and see if that's tightened up even more. Yeah, wow. He's lost a little bit of distance right there now. He's 0.1 seconds back again, but look how tight they are. I mean, he gets a chance to look to the inside. They make contact.
And they're stuck together.
They are. They're hung together as they go through turn 4. Wow. And they are now having to get out of those carts and try to get each other unhung and see if they can continue on. Oh, they get the pass. So now 3rd place is your 1st place cart. So Jack Harstar has moved up to the lead in this one, and those 2 drivers are still sitting there.
Well, I've never seen anything like that.
That is an unusual situation as our leaders got hung together as they came up the hill in 2, and it forced them both to have to get off their carts and try to see if they could get them unstuck and then get back going once again. So we'll have to see how this shakes down, where they wind up in the field. Of course, timing and scoring takes place right at the start-finish line, so we'll see both Spencers, Gabe Spencer and Spencer Mast, move back according to where they get them going again. And Gabe Spencer has gotten back up to 6th spot with Spencer Mast in 7th, but Martin Simonoff is your new race leader.
So that battle that we were watching for 3rd, 4th, and 5th is now the battle for 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
Jack Rostar is in 2nd spot, and he is a senior. So now our top junior is Hayden Kassman, and Hayden is now running in the 4th overall position, but he is our top junior. Our next junior is Christian Foster, who's now in the 7th position, and then you got Harrison Browning behind them, who's a senior, and then another junior of Vincent Capetillo in the number 14. He's back in 9th place overall on the racetrack, but he's only 3rd as far as junior racing goes. There's a good shot of the new condos here at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Boy, those are really coming along. They've made a lot of progress on them since we were here in November. White flag is out right now.
Martin Simonoff taking the white flag. Interesting to see if any of the Spencers can make it up in this last lap and maybe get an extra spot. Of course, this grid sets the grid for the final race, so having those fast carts in the back will be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see how that plays out as they continue on. We can hear some cheering on the outside, so someone must have made a pass right here coming off 3 and 4. Not sure exactly what was going on, but from the deck outside, we heard a lot of cheering happening there, so we'll have to check out the lead once we get to the end of this race. There you see the drivers working their way down into turn 14. They're going through 15 and 16. In just a moment, we'll get the win from one of these drivers. They come by for the final time. Let's see who's going to be that takes the checkered flag. Mikey, bring them home.
Crossing the finish line, number 26, Martin Simonoff, followed by 98 of Jack Harstar, and in 3rd place, Danny May.
Boy, Danny May is a driver we've seen have some victories here and certainly a hard runner in this division. He comes up with a 3rd spot. Our top junior finisher is Hayden Kassman. He comes in 4th position, so he will be the winner of the junior portion of this. And also another junior, Vincent Capetillo, is the 2nd best finishing junior. 3rd best finishing junior, Christian Foster. He was 2nd in this group, and he winds up 3rd after the junior of Kassman gets the win, and then Vincent Capetillo winds up in 2nd spot amongst the juniors. So how will they line these drivers up now? Do they take all the seniors and line them up first from this finishing order to start the final and then put the juniors in line, or do they line up exactly as they finish this with a mixture of juniors and seniors?
I'm not 100%. I'm assuming that the way that they lined up the first race was by class, and they'll do the same for the second.
Okay, so we'll be putting all the juniors in the back, or, okay, I didn't know exactly how that worked. We'll find that out for sure when we get the lineups for today's finals coming up. Remember, these pre-finals are 10-lap features. The finals will be 12 laps, and those will start your way in just a little while. Tag Cadet and Tag Rookie are coming up next. Tag Cadet and Tag Rookie, they're already staged They're in the building under us. You can hear them roar as they get ready to bring them out into turn 6 and turn 7 in the kink area when they bring them on the track. Track officials are out right now checking the track for any debris or any problems on the racetrack. And the LO206 Seniors, LO206 Masters will be coming out next. Drivers, let's get those carts to the staging area, please. LO206 Senior and LO206 Master. A little bit of track work going on. They're having to do, they've got a cart sitting over there that did not make it to the finish, so they're having to get that one, well, actually toting it off the track. They'll put it in the back of the pickup and be ready to get the track clear in just a moment.
And that is the nice thing about kart racing is you can just pick up the cart and put it in the back of a truck. Can't really do that on the main track.
Yep, not able to do that. You know, we see Legends cars that run over at the big track on occasion, and Humpy Wheeler was one of the developers of those Legends cars. He and Elliot Forbes Robinson, they are the creators of the Legends cars. And I was talking to Humpy one day, and he said that the reason they made those cars a 5/8 scale model, he said they made those so that they would fit in the back of a pickup truck. And that was the reason that they came up with the wheelbase design and so forth. Interesting fact on this, boy, they still are hung together right there. Can't get those carts separated. He said the reason that they came up with that, he said, I was in my son's bedroom one day and I noticed a Hot Rod magazine on his nightstand, and it had a fat-fendered Ford, a 40 Ford fat fender, and he thought that'd make a good-looking race car. And so they developed that from a fat-fendered 40 Ford is what the Legends cars became, and they fit in the back of a pickup truck. And he said, we were assuming when we started this it would be low-budget racing. We assumed everybody would show up, doctors and dentists would buy these, and they would show up at the racetrack in their pickup trucks with their cars on the back. He said, we never envisioned these NASCAR-type haulers that showed up with a 50-foot hauler with one little Legends car in the back of it. But he said it kind of took on a life of its own. So Legends car racing, an important thing that we see at the big track on occasion.
I had the opportunity to work pit out as a race corner on the main track during when the Legends came, and I was blown away by the haulers and the equipment and just how serious everyone took it. I kind of thought I showed up for the wrong race. It turns out they were Legends.
It is a big deal. I was fortunate to go through a Legends driving course. They invited me. I was I've emceed all their banquets for years, and so they invited me to go through a Legends driving course. And I still have a baggie with a piece of concrete wall where I backed a Legends car into the concrete wall, and it dented it so bad that concrete fell out, and I saved it. So I've got a little baggie of concrete from my efforts as a race driver.
Well, some people collect soil from different baseball diamonds, and I guess concrete from barrier walls. That's a good one.
Yeah, and this just popped into my mind for some reason. I don't know why it is. It's a morbid thought. But many racetracks that I've worked with over the years, we would have a ceremony before the race began and dump someone's ashes on pit road and on the racing surface or whatever. And that's kind of a morbid thing to think about, but a lot of people do that. And when I was involved in NASCAR for so many years, it was amazing how many wedding ceremonies took place either in victory lane or at the start-finish line of a racetrack on the morning before the race. Be surprised how many people get married at the racetrack. So let's check out our lineup right now as we get set to go racing. Remember, we've got the Tag Cadet and Tag Rookie. We'll try to keep you up to date on who is who and which division they're in. Bowen Green is in the Cadet division. He lines up first. Now, we don't have a driver of that second cart. Again, we've got a list of numbers there, but it doesn't really tell us who is what on there. Gabriel Lopez Velarde is in the 825. That is a rookie driver. That's starting third. Adam Durst starts fourth in the 81, and that's a cadet driver. Mikey, take it on from there.
Starting in the fifth spot, number 16, Maddox Thoman, and that's a tag cadet. In the sixth spot, driving the number 26 cart, Callan.
I'm going with Berghofer.
Berghofer, I was going to say. And in seventh place, rolling off in the number 44, Meyer Lewis, tag cadet.
Francisco Puerta is a rookie driver, the 55. Ruben Greer is also a rookie driver, and that is the 20 cart. Ryan Perez is a rookie in the 12 cart, and Austin Warner, a cadet, in the number 1 cart, and Mayton Fanian, I'm going with Fanian on that one, is, I recapitulated here, and I don't know what happened.
I think they just took the green flag, so I think it threw everything for a loop.
Okay. So anyway, I'm not sure where that driver went. Can't even find his name anymore. But anyway,
there
we'll
was
go
a
with
driver
that.
slowing down, so he might have.
He might have pitted out, yeah. So anyway, we got the race underway. They head down through the kink right now, and I am going to believe that is Bowen Green, who is our leader going into 9. He started on the pole, and I have not seen a pass for the lead, so I believe that's Bowen Green, your leader.
Oh, and we got someone spinning there at the end of the back straightaway.
You know, these drivers are starting out here on cold tires. They've not really had a chance to get any heat in their tires. And on this first lap, it is rather treacherous, especially when you go off that kink area down there and you're unloading the rear end of the car right before you go into 9, and that cart may not stick. And we saw that situation going on right there with that bright yellow cart.
First lap of the race, and not to mention first lap of the season. So
Right.
getting used to the carts again. And
some names we've not seen before. These may be first time out for some of these youngsters.
And so Bowen Green is in first place. We see him there coming up through turn 2 up the hill.
And he's got quite a substantial lead right now over Maddox Thorman. Don't believe there's an R in that. I believe that's Thoman.
Thoman.
Austin Warner still shown in third spot. That's the number 1 cart. Adam Durst in the 81 is second. So right now we've got all cadets up front. Our first rookie is Gabriel Lopez Velarde, the number 825. That's our first rookie that we know of that's in here, and we have completed lap number 1, working lap number 2 right now. This is the tag cadet and tag rookies.
So Bowen has pulled off a decent lead here, but second and third still competing.
I got a good battle going on there as they go through 17. We got some side-by-side action. Bowen Green has taken the lead. Maddox Thoman, Austin Warner, and Luke Giglio. I had not seen his name pop up, and we've had some varying ways that we pronounce that. We've had it Giglio, we've had Giglio, so we're going to go with Giglio and Giglio both in fourth place. How about we do that?
Sounds good. So 0.3 of a second separating Thoman and Warner, and they are about 3.5 seconds back from Green. So Green checking out from the field here.
Yeah, Bowen Green is one of the cadet drivers. Also, our top top rookie right now, still Gabriel Lopez Velarde, the 825 cart, shown in 6th overall, but that is the number 1 in the rookie class, and that is a name I believe we're familiar with from last year, but some of these drivers not familiar with those names, so it's good to see them out here. I don't believe I remember Callan Berghofer here from before, so that may be a brand new name to us this year. Some of these drivers just getting started. I'm not sure the age group. Do you know the age differentiation between cadet and rookie, or is it experience differentiation?
Will had mentioned it before, and I'm drawing a blank.
I'm not sure. We'll have to check that out and see. We'll find out from Will in just a little while on what the experience level is from these two drivers. Now you see that line going out there. Bowen is way ahead. Bowen Green is still your leader, but we got a good side-by-side battle going on as they go into 9.
Luke Giglio made the pass on Austin Warner here this lap. He is now in the 3rd position, racing with Maddox Thoman.
Will Rigdon is here right now, and he's got some commentary on the difference between rookie and cadet. So tell us a little bit about, is it experience or is it age?
So it is a combination of age and experience. So once you do a couple seasons, you move up. But the cadet class, or the rookie class, is the younger. The cadet is the older. You can start as young as 8 in this mini Swift class. So pretty much your 8 to 10-year-olds are going to be those rookies. And then your 10 to 12, 13 range is going to be your cadets.
You mentioned a phrase I'm not familiar with, mini Swift. Tell me about that.
So that is the engine these guys are running. So these are 2-strokes. This is the smallest and slowest of the 2-stroke, although that doesn't mean these things are slow. These are much faster than the 4-stroke engines that they run. And as you can see, these guys are getting in speeds upwards of 60-plus miles an hour. And for kids that are 12 and under, this is some racing for them.
Yeah, from 8 to 12. I mean, you've got a lot more experience when you're a 12-year-old than when you do when you're an 8-year-old. That's quite a range right now. And for an 8-year-old to be in this kind of powered vehicle is pretty amazing.
And these are definitely the fastest that you can get into as a rookie. Most rookies will either start with the little combers that we see in the kid carts, and those are the 6 to 8-year-olds. That's what most of them start with. They then graduate to the LO206, which are the 4-strokes. And then if they're still young enough, they'll go up to these mini Swifts. A lot of times kids will age out and they go right back up to the LO206 Juniors. But for right now, these guys, it's a it's a free-for-all out there because those 8 to 12-year-olds.
So once you get 13 years of age, you automatically have to go up to LO206 Junior.
Don't quote me on it. I'll have to check with race control. But, yes, it's in that range.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Yes, sir. They'll age out of it.
Okay. All right, very good. We're just past the halfway point right now. We've got 5 laps complete. Bowen Green continues to lead this race. Luke, and we've had a conversation about this. Is it Giglio or Giglio? You pronounce it Giglio. Your dad pronounces it Giglio.
I'm sure it's probably Giglio because my dad got way better on his SAT scores than I did.
I'll have to tell you this. I worked at a track once, and we had 2 brothers, and they both pronounced their last name differently. We had Mike Aleo and his brother Bob Aleo, and they could not agree on the pronunciation, and they were brothers, so that you never know. Pronunciation aside, Bowen Green is still your race leader. He has led it from the outset. Giglio is in second spot in the 68. Maddox Thoman is third in the 16, but our top rookie is still Gabriel Lopez Velarde, the 825, runs in 5th overall on the track, but in best of class, he is still number 1.
So Velarde is leading the rookie class. Isaac Carvalho has kind of closed the lead or closed the gap on that lead in that class.
We've got Kai Mars, and Kai Mars doesn't have a designation, but knowing Kai, I believe he is a cadet driver, if I'm not mistaken, even though there's no designation written on there, but I believe Kai Mars is also a cadet driver, not a rookie. I do know this. Kai Mars is a little bitty guy. As far as we talk about weight in karts and in race cars, not a whole lot of weight in Kai Mars on these. And there's a lot of youngsters out there like that. Little bitty fellows, when you see them, we call their names up here and we act like they're seasoned race drivers, and they may be seasoned, but they're still little bitty guys.
Well, these guys have to weigh out, Charles. So at the end of each race, they go across the scales. And when you look at the back of the seats, because that's where they put the weight, you'll see little Kai's seats. He's got, looks like a gym set there. He's got so many weights tied to it.
They got to have plenty of weight on there. Will, you and I both have been in a situation where we didn't have to worry about putting too much weight on whatever vehicle we were in. We had plenty at one point in time. Drivers working their way off turn number 17 once again. Bowen Green has already taken that point down there. He is 8 laps complete. Now you see Giglio and some of the other drivers coming through with 8 laps complete.
That is an almost 15-second gap, Charles, between your leader and second place Luke Giglio.
Unbelievable. He's got a great lead going on right now, and he has already made his way through turn 3. Rest of those drivers, that 3-way battle coming up, they just now hit turns 3 and 4 right in front of our vantage point.
It looks like the real battle's heating up right now for third place between Maddox Toman and Adam Durst. That gap at the line was only 1/10 of a second.
Well, it looks like they've separated themselves out a little bit. There's your second, third, and fourth place coming through right there.
And we should see 1 to go this time by.
Coming up next, we need LO206 Senior and LO206 Master. Drivers, let's get those carts to the staging area, please. LO206 Senior and LO206 Master. White flag does indeed come out over this group of carts. Good battle side by side right there for position. And Toman and Durst coming by almost identically as they came underneath the flag stand. I mean, they are oh so close.
Not much separating the third and fourth spot there.
Less than 1/100th of a second. So that was very, very tight racing between those two. Almost a dead heat as they came underneath the flag stand. So final lap is underway. There you see our leader, Bowen Green. He's got quite a bit of separation back to the second place cart. That's Giglio that you see there in that particular shot in the 68 multicolored machine. Bowen Green works his way down 17. Green has already taken the checkered flag, so Bowen Green is your winner. Here comes Giglio by. He will finish in second spot. And we saw a good battle going on between those two, but Maddox Thoman gets that third place finish. Adam Durst will take fourth. And look at that. Gabriel Lopez Velarde is our first rookie competitor in here. He winds up fourth overall, but he is the leader in his division. So congratulations to him for getting by Durst on that last lap and had a great battle going on. And you notice these drivers, even though they're in different divisions, they still want to beat whoever's in front of them, even though they're the winner in their division. So for Gabriel Lopez Velarde, to get that position over Adam Durst is significant for him to win that battle on the racetrack, but he still finishes first in the rookie division. Our second driver in the rookie division goes back to Callan Burkhofer, the number 26. So that's the way that those two drivers end up in their best of class. Meanwhile, Bowen Green and Luke Giglio, the top two for the cadets. We bring out LO206 Senior and LO206 Master. And then, of course, one of the most exciting races of the day, we need to get those drivers to the staging area. That's LO206 Junior. They always put on a great race. Mikey, I always love it whenever the juniors are on track. These guys they're really out to prove something. They're trying to see if they can work their way up. They've got a ton of experience and youngsters all, but they really race hard.
It's definitely the best race of the day, both the pre-final and the final of the juniors.
Yeah, the pre-final, of course, sets the stage for the final. Now, they draw and run in this pre-final, or they have qualifying that positions them in the pre-final. So they'll be working their way through the field. They may have had a bad qualifying run earlier in the day, and here's a chance for them to redeem themselves to get a good starting position in the final that comes up a little later. And you hear that mighty roar from underneath us as they fire those carts up. This is going to be a great race as the LO206 Senior and LO206 Masters bring them out on the track.
Yeah, it seems with the LO206 Junior is that even someone who maybe has a podium spot secured, you would think that they would take it easy and just secure that top spot for the final. But they will go for it, even in a pre-final.
Yeah, we got Danny May. You know, we've talked about him being a regular in so many of these races here at Atlanta Motorsports Park, and Danny May starts on the pole for this one. He is a senior. Also a senior is Brad Estes in the 187, Cameron Estes in the 28. Matt Lassiter is also a senior in the 87. Carson Craig is a senior. He's in the 56 this time by. Remember, he was in the 55 last time. Banu Yedla is a senior in the number 114. Then we start the Masters. Run down a few of those Masters for us.
All right. Oh, of course, now my race monitor has gone away.
Jeremy Durst in the 63 is a Master. Then we have another Junior. That's Jarvis Lee in the 66. Paul McElree is a senior. He is in the 33 cart. Joe Davis, a senior, in the 31. Then Martin Najbert is a senior in the 78. Scott Monchen, a senior in the 13. Daniel Monchen, a senior in the 231. Frank Baldozier is a master in the 110. And all of a sudden, everything shifts as they come by. So we get the green flag and we get everything underway. They did get a good start first time by. That's unusual for any of our divisions today, but they got a good start as they bring them up the hill. Mikey, look at all that. Oh, we got something to get together. Oh, my goodness, a hard hit.
Major contact on the hill after turn 2. That looks like the number 28 of...
I believe that's Aaron. Is that a 028, Aaron Cox, or is there
that was the number 28 of Cameron Estes.
Ah, okay. Well, wow, he was one of the guys starting up front. So Cameron in the 28 car started third, and we had you saw him spin. You saw a couple of others out there. That's I believe that's the number 83. Do I have that correct?
63, Jeremy Durst.
Oh, Jeremy Durst also involved in that. Several drivers involved in it, and Durst a little worse for the wear as his cart has ended the day, it looks like, for him. We complete lap number 1 as they come by.
And a yellow flag is out, so maybe a caution here.
Yeah, I don't think they can continue that as they come through because there's just too much going on the sidelines for them to continue hard racing.
So So it looks like they cleared the local yellow, and they're going to continue.
All right, that was only a local yellow. It was not a yellow for the entire racetrack, so we're back to green flag action once again. Look at that battle heating up for the top spot. They're in single file for the moment, but I don't expect that to last awfully long.
Danny May hunting down Brant Estes here.
And Estes started on the in front, right behind May, and yet May was able, or Estes able to get by Danny May. So Danny May now in second spot. Matt Lassiter has moved up to third. Our top running junior, master, is Frank Baldozer, and he is back in ninth position on the racetrack, but he is our top running master, and just behind him is Aaron Cox in the 28, also another master driver.
Side by side here for the lead. Brant on the left there. He's going to have the inside to this turn. But it looks like Danny May taking the lead, the number 8.
Well, Danny May, no stranger to the front here, especially in this particular division. And Danny May is a hard racer, but look at Estes right behind him as they try to work their way. Let's see if he tries to cut him short on this corner right here. Estes, nope, staying in the high line right behind Danny May. So May's going to lead him off turn number 4 up the back straightaway, or turn number 9 up the back straightaway into turn 12 right now. So May, your race leader, as he heads down toward turn 17. May in the number 8. They are single file as they come off turn 17. They'll come by start finish once again. We will log in 3 laps complete, and Danny May is now shown as your race leader. Brant Estes in the 187 is second. Matt Lassiter in the 87 is third. Jarvis Lee has worked his way up. He started somewhat back in the field in the 66, and he is now up to 4th spot. Carson Craig in the 56 is in 5th. Then we look back at our fastest master. It's still Frank Baldozer in the 110, and just behind him, Aaron Cox in the number 028, and only 1/100th of a second, or 1/10 of a second, separates those two drivers battling it out for the lead in the Masters division.
Oh, and I think that's Brant Estes who's gone wide into the grass, right through the burnt grass. Oh, and I think that's going to upset his cart.
Oh, wow. Interesting thing about the 187, I know a driver that his number is 187, and you know why he named it 187? I'm not sure Estes has this same situation here, but that is the police call for murder. And he said, I murder them with speed. That's why I'm the 187. So that just so you have a little bit of trivia there.
So with Brant off track, Matt Lassiter moves up into second. Well, of course, that's going to shift the whole field up a spot. Jarvis Lee now occupies that 3rd position.
It's going to take a while to matriculate all these guys through the field, but right now Danny May is your leader. Danny separates himself over Matt Lassiter by almost a second right now as these drivers work their way by. It was 0.8 of a second when they came by start-finish, but I believe he has increased his lead over Lassiter right now. We'll have to check, but Lassiter's got a duo of drivers right behind him, one taking a quick look out to the inside. That may be Jarvis Lee.
So it looks like with the confusion caused by Brant Estes going off track, Danny May's taking advantage and pulled a little bit of a lead here. But the real battle is behind him for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th spots.
Yeah, 0.3 of a second or 0.7 of a second back right now is Lassiter, and Lee is behind him just another 0.3. We got one that spun over there. That is the 55 cart. And the 55 is, I'm trying to find the number coordination here. And I don't see a 55. I'm wondering if that's the 56 they've got him listed as Carson Craig. He normally runs a 55 cart, so I have a feeling that's Carson Craig. Drivers work off that beautiful corner over there of 9, and they work their way up through the S's. They're coming into 12 right now, and that's where the flag stand is basically for the regular daily cart rental is at that point on the racetrack. They head down to 17. Once again, Danny May, laps now in the book. We have 6 laps in the book this time by, or we will when May comes underneath, and he comes right underneath that scoring light and scoring tower. So it'll be Danny May still your leader with Matt Lassiter in second. Jarvis Lee is third. Banu Yedla, we had not talked about him much. He's worked his way up to fourth. And then Harrison Browning is fifth. And our top running master is still Frank Baldozier. And Carson Craig has now taken his spot in between Baldozier and the next fastest running master, which is Aaron Cox. He is now back in 14th place on the racetrack, but he's your second fastest Masters driver, but quite a bit of difference between him and Frank Baldozier. So he's got some distance to make up if he wants to try to win best of class in this Masters race.
He must have had some sort of problem because for a little bit, it was a pretty close race in that master class.
Yeah, he was only a couple of tenths behind Baldozier, but now he finds himself separated by several carts on the racetrack. Look at this good battle going on right here into 17. We've got there your leader, Danny May, coming off turn 17, but look at the battle behind him. Lassiter and Lee, I mean, they cross almost identically in time. So just right on the back bumper of each other. They're only separated by about 1/10 of a second right now, a little less than 1/10 of a second. And that battle continues as they come around turn 3.
So with 3 laps left to go, will Jarvis Lee have enough in the tank to make the pass on Matt Lassiter?
Well, Lassiter's been strong. You know, he started up front. Jarvis Lee started back in the pack, and Lee has made up quite a bit of distance and quite a ways through, having to pass a lot of these carts to get up to third spot. So he's got momentum on his side. But Danny May is the driver that's out front. I don't think anybody's got anything for Danny unless there's a problem. But look at these guys. They look like they're almost glued together coming off. We got another one off course right there at the flag stand.
You can maybe fit an index card in between Lee and Lassiter there as they were coming up that hill.
They are tight. Now they almost go side by side that time as Jarvis Lee swings out a little wide trying to find some place that he's not. You know, race drivers always tell me in order to try to advance a position, the way that they usually say it is you got to go where the other fella ain't. So wherever he's going, you got to find some way to get in different air or in a different position in order to try to make that pass. You just can't follow the leader all race long and expect something different to happen.
Sometimes even just jumping out might scare the guy in front of you into thinking maybe he has more grip than me there and maybe change the way that he drives,
yep,
which
exactly.
of course might just be a bluff.
It's not just a speed game. A mind game also plays into being here. Man, machine, and mind, the 3 M's that work together in racing. Danny May, you see his advantage, and you see these 2 guys going at it, Matt Lassiter and Jarvis Lee. Boy, they are battling it hard as they come off down into 14.
It looks like on the back half of this track here that Lee kind of gets more speed than Lassiter. It's just he physically can't get past him.
Yeah, when they start uphill, Lassiter starts to pull away a bit, but they get into turn 2 and make that trek down the big banking there and work their way back up. You see a real tight battle unfold. See, you see a little bit of distance. Now by the time they get to the top of the hill, usually there's a big strong battle going on here in turn 3. There you see Danny May way out front. Here are those 2 guys battling for second and third spot right now. Those are both seniors, and they're battling Danny May, who's also a senior driver. Again, that first Masters driver is the driver who is back in 10th spot on the racetrack. That's Frank Baldozier. Danny May, final time by through the S's.
Now right here is where Lee looks a little faster than Lassiter, so we'll see if he can put a move on him.
If it's ever going to be, it's got to be this time because this is your last chance to do so. He has really got a head of steam coming down off 14, down into 15. Let's see if he breaks away coming off 16 and 17. Here comes your leader. Danny May will come by. Checkered flag is in the air for Danny May. And it looks like it's going to be follow the leader with Matt Lassiter and Jarvis Lee coming in second and third. Banu Yedla is going to be your 4th place finisher. And then I believe Harrison Browning is going to be our driver that comes through next. Carson Craig trying to hang on there after his little off-road excursion. And Carson Craig will finish in 6th spot, followed by Adam Phillips. Still waiting on that top driver. And there he went by. Frank Baldozier is the top finishing Masters driver in the number 110. So Baldozier takes the top in the Masters group.
And so it seems like after Brent Estes went off and Matt Lassiter inherited that second position, he pretty much had Lee in his rearview mirror the entire race. So
Now, I don't remember exactly where Jarvis Lee started this race. He was back in the pack quite a bit, and he really had to pass a lot of carts to get up there to finish in third. But, man, yeoman's work to Jarvis Lee for passing a lot of cars and getting up into that top three. So next up, we've got the LO206 Junior, one of the most exciting groups we see on the racetrack. These guys are just fearless. They're out there, and it seems like we have more incidents in the LO206 Junior because the guys are just absolutely, as Darrell Waltrip used to say, they haven't hit the wall enough to know not to run full blast all the time. So they've got quite a bit of experience, but they're still young and they're aggressive, and it's great to see these guys on track.
it's always a good race, and more times than not, the race has to be settled after the fact with timing and scoring because of all the penalties and drama on track.
Do remember that there are penalties that are involved in some of these races, so our results here are unofficial until the race timing and scoring get done taking a look at it. The race director may have a say in exactly how that goes, so there is a little bit of technical issue and also some penalties that sometimes come into play on these things. And we have had drivers who were light at the scales over the years, so you never know exactly how it's going to play out. We need to get all shifters and Tillisons to the staging area, shifters and Tillisons. Let's get those carts to the staging area. That'll be our final event of the day, but right now we've got LO206 Juniors coming out on the track for probably what will be the most exciting race of the day as far as pre-finals is concerned. We'll be lining them up for finals, and we'll be bringing those finals out in just a moment, and we'll start those with LO206 Cadets will be the first ones out for finals. Finals will be 12 laps, whereas all of these pre-finals have been 10 laps, and they bring the dreaded stretcher out to take one back to the area, so every other vehicle was tied up, so here we go with the stretcher going down the hill.
Not the way you want to enter on the pit lane.
Nope, you never want to leave the racetrack on a stretcher, whether it's cart or person. A stretcher is not a good sign.
So with the LO206 Juniors coming up, any predictions on, other than a good race and action?
Well, LO206, you know, there's several drivers that come forth in this that we've seen over the years. Alyssa Vasquez, she is such a great driver. And Vasco, her dad told me how to pronounce that, and now it's escaped me.
I believe it's Alyssa Vasquez.
Vasquez. Well, I was right. Okay, Alyssa Vasquez. I wanted to make sure I got that right. We'll see him out there. Logan Bice, another driver that we've seen that has done well, but Alyssa is one to really keep your eye on. She is sharp in that 07. She'll start up front today. She is tough to pass, and if she gets behind somebody, she is one that really will make her way to the front. So keep your eye on Alyssa Vasquez in the 07.
And now for this season, since they've split up the juniors from the rest of the LO206s, I am expecting just a solid pack here of carts running together.
I've not seen that Trechtenberg is a brand new name to me, so I've not seen Camden Trechten. I'm going to go with Trachtenberg. Let's go with that until we're told differently. Ian Spencer, we've seen some Spencers on the racetrack before. I have an assumption that may be the same family, so that's a racing family there. Andrew Thomas starts in the number 2. He is a name we've heard before. Ethan Shore starting in third spot. We've heard his name before. Wesley Bacon, another driver that we remember his name in the 06. And also Logan Bice, we've heard his name in the 33. So we got a couple of new ones in the field here. And, of course, Alyssa Vasquez, who is just a perennial winner in this one. We'll see if she can pull off the win again this afternoon as the LO206 Juniors bring it out onto the race course. There you see a shot of some of the sports cars that are out here today. The big track's got some things going on over there, as always, and we will take when's our first race over at the big track? Do you know offhand?
I want to say it either already happened, but it was held by something. I don't know if it was an official race.
I think it was a club race of some kind. It wasn't something that we did as a broadcast anyway.
I was sent the schedule a while ago, and it's gotten lost in my email.
Well, if you notice, there's so many things as far as the schedule, it's hard to ferret out exactly whenever we're having a big race there that we call a big race versus what's on the schedule, because there's a lot of things on the schedule here at Atlanta Motorsports Park. So you hear them fire up the engine, 7 strong, and it sounds like there's 40 of them beneath us down there as these LO206s get ready to come out onto the race course. Just a moment, we'll get them out and get them lined up. You see the lineup there on your screen. Alyssa Vasquez and Wesley Bacon will be starting on the front row. Ethan Shore and Logan Bice, row number 2. Camden Trachtenberg will be in the 32 cart. He'll be inside row 3. On the outside, it'll be Ian Spencer in the number 54, and Andrew Thomas will round out the field in the number 2. Shifter and Tillison, let's get those carts ready, please. Shifters and Tillisons, let's get those carts ready to go. Good shot from down at the, that's the kid area, staging area. I believe shifter carts, so they start off in that same spot, or is this just for kid carts?
I want to say this is like the pre-grid.
Yeah, I think they, Will's here. Will Rigdon stepped in.
So we
are
actually looking at the pre-grid right now. So this is the area right outside the start, or right outside the clubhouse. So the group that is on deck will be staged in this area. That's how they get them set up, 1 through whatever's running in that group. And then when the current class gets off track, then they pull through the gap in the gate right there, pull onto pit road, and then they get released for their next race.
Okay, so what do we have lining up right now? Are we getting shifters and Tillison's lined up?
The green flag is out.
Oh, my.
Well, right into the action.
So we got action going on right now as those 7 drivers head off down turn 2. Alyssa Vasquez, very clearly, you can tell. Oh, we got 4 getting together off there. Man.
And it looked like that green cart spun and kind of spooked everyone, and they got hard on the brakes and spun out.
And we got trying to get her back started again. If you've ever run a weed eater, you know his pain right now. There we go. It looks like I thought he had it running, but
and that is a tough position to be in, Charles. He cannot get that thing fired back up. His race is pretty much done. That is a tough beat.
And that's a driver that, again, we weren't familiar with his name, Camden Trachtenberg, and so not sure he's going to get rolling again.
And there's another issue, too, they have here with these 4-cylinders. Like we were talking earlier, if you're not in the RPM range, you will not have the power to get around this track. And as you can see, the 54 is going to need a hand to get up that hill. That little 4-stroke is not going to be able to make it.
Yeah, Ian Spencer going to have to back up and try to get it. We see Trachtenberg able to get his cart going. Let's see if he's going to have enough power to make it up the hill. Yeah, I believe he's going to make it. So a lot of action there as they first came around. They have completed lap number 1. Still under that local caution there for those drivers, but Alyssa Vasquez up front. Wesley
so there
Bacon.
is no passing during that local yellow.
Well, and not a problem because nobody's close enough to do anything right now. Alyssa's out front by about 10 cart lengths over the second place Wesley Bacon as she heads into turn number 9.
Well, that is one of the worst places on track, though, Charles, to have to encounter a local yellow because you need that speed to get up the hill, but you can't see what's over it. And so you can run the risk of getting a penalty, getting hit, getting in a lot of trouble. And so that is a very bad place to have to encounter a local yellow.
Well, it's a tough spot on the racetrack, and it's obviously one where yellows occur because that is a tough area of the track to negotiate, especially first time by on cold tires on a cool day. You just wonder if those cars are going to stick when they go down there. I always admire these drivers for going down to that 180-degree turn and going down with such speed in order to know that that thing's going to stick and work its way back up. I don't think I'd have the gumption to do that, the boldness to do that.
Not to mention surrounded by other carts, all doing the same.
Yeah, everybody doing the same thing. Alyssa Vasquez starts to get that lead a little bit bigger right now. Vasquez, as she came by last time, was quite a bit ahead of the second place of Wesley Bacon. Matter of fact, 1.1 seconds was the advantage, and I believe that's grown a little more right now.
And comparing that to the first lap when they came by, she had a half a second lead, so in 2 laps already creating a second lead from second place, Wesley Bacon.
Alyssa in the 07, and obviously we know her when she's on the track because she's shrouded in pink, her racing suit as well as her cart. The pink Kart going into turn 17 right now will complete lap number 3 this time by for these drivers. This is the LO206 Junior division. They're running all alone now. They used to run in conjunction with the LO206 Junior, Senior, and Masters. I believe that was LO206, yeah, Senior and Masters.
It was actually the cadets and the juniors, Charles.
Oh, cadets and the juniors where they ran together. Well, right now she's bringing it off of turn number 4, and we've completed 3 laps of this one.
Yeah, we separated out that class purely because the cadets, like I said, it's their first time out on track, so they get a little bit rougher time getting the starts down. So we separated out because we get much cleaner starts out of this junior group. And this was one of our most competitive divisions last year, Charles, was the KA Juniors. Every single race, it was Alyssa and Oliver Piatek going back and forth. And it was quite some action to see. And it looks like Oliver's not going to be in the juniors this season. So we'll have to see what class he's in later on in the day.
Is he here today? I've not seen his name show up yet. I don't believe he's going to be in a shifter cart. We'll have to see.
We will need to check in and see if he's on site because he might be on the national circuit. Some of the drivers will go to race other races and skip ours.
Well, let's check him out right now. Well, Mikey and I were talking earlier. When is our first action over on the big track coming up, Will?
So we get fired up on the big track April 30th. So we still got a little ways to go until main track action starts. We postponed our season by a month up at the main track because we had the big NASA race weekend come in a couple weeks ago, and that was quite an interesting weekend, and so we let them have the March race day. So we're going to run April through November up at the main track.
Okay, well, we'll have a lot of action there running once a month there or twice a month.
So we will be once a month up at main track, followed by our Saturday night socials. And any of you guys listening here locally, if you are a registered racer, you are automatically invited to our Saturday night socials. So if you want to come out on April 30th after the main track race event, we do autocross, skid pads open, we do open track lapping, drag racing, and then, of course, we got food and drinks for everybody. It is a fun event, good networking opportunity. A lot of our members come out. And it's a good time to interact with the racers, with our club members. It's a party we like to throw after race day.
Well, we're halfway through this race right now. Talk about the skid pad. There's been some additions to that and some changes over the off season. So what have been the changes and upgrades there?
So one of the biggest changes we made to our skid pad over the off season was we changed the sprinkler system out on it. They had to tear up. Well, first they tore up the entire surface because we're going from an asphalt surface to a polished concrete surface. And then while they were in there, they tore up the entire water system. So we got a new European-style sprinkler system where there's no jets on the track. It's all on the exterior of the skid pad. And then we actually added a second circle at the bottom of the hill so you can practice doing figure eights and more driver maneuverability exercises.
So a little drifting may come into play there on
Yes.
a wet surface. Wow, that's pretty cool. Good start as they bring him up the hill. Mikey, look at all that. Oh, we got
Something to get together. Oh, my goodness, a hard hit. Major contact on the hill after turn 2. That looks like the number 28 of, I believe that's Aaron. Is that a 028, Aaron Cox, or is it
that was the number 28 of Cameron Estes.
Oh, okay. Well, wow, he was one of the guys starting up front. So Cameron in the 28 car started third, and we had you saw him spin.